And Rusty, it was fueled by a fast start. Georgia scores 14 points in the first quarter. They had scored 17 points in the first quarter in the first 5 games. What do you think went into it?
I really think this kind of the momentum of that second half at Auburn. I really think that they kind of used that, and I like to say that Jake, you and I both said it kind of looked like the light cut on for everybody, not just Carson Beck, but for everybody. You're in a situation like that, you're down the road, you fumble the ball first play, second half, all the momentum's against you. You kind of keep your composure. Kirby Smart uses that word. You circle the wagons, and you just get together and get going. And when you go 8 for 13 on third down, I don't care who you are, as a quarterback in his first ever road environment, and then you come back to a game in Athens. You're used to this. It's a big environment. It's a night game. And, I think the offensive line, we'll dig into, I think the offensive line played their best game of the year by far. And they gave Carson Beck time. And, man, he just looks – you're starting to see those little tendencies with him. And, man, he looks comfortable. Doesn't have happy feet. He's going through his progressions. I went back and watched the replay today. I mean, he's scanning the field, 1, 2, 3, letting the thing – he's turning it loose. And I had somebody kind of in the industry that I trust, and he texted me and he said, man, Carson is not making any bad throws. And I thought about that, and everything that he threw was in a good window, or it was the right receiver. You know what I mean? He had a tip ball for interception, and it happens. But, I mean, he was so dialed in, and those types of things. You just don't flip the switch on a Saturday night. That's when you walk into the film room Sunday night and Monday morning, and you kind of know your plan and know where you're at, and you're feeling confident.
Man, there ain't no doubt about it. And Carson Beck didn't make his first mistake in that game until Georgia had it well in hand, and he tried to force something probably with the situation in mind.
Yep.
But again, if you're sitting there talking about a quarterback that makes one mistake a game, you're probably talking about a quarterback that's playing really, really well. Palmer, you got any sort of different take on that, on the fast start?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think as you look at that first drive, and this picture's from it, the 40-yard score to Marcus Rosemy-Jack Saint. To me, Georgia got Carson on the move, and I think that gets him comfortable. As much as we say that he's not a mobile quarterback, he's not a running threat.
We don't say that. We don't say that. That's kind of the reputation around the fan base.
Right.
Truthfully, yeah. But we've seen enough. No, this guy's not a statue now.
Well, and I mean, on that first drive, he took off for a first down, a key one to keep it going. And so, whether it's a rollout, taking off and picking up, moving the chains by himself, Carson, I think, gets comfortable. We heard it a lot with Stetson over the last couple of years. He didn't feel comfortable until he took that first hit. He didn't feel like he was playing football until there was some contact there. It may be true with Carson Beck too, because they get him moving, rolling out, finding receivers. 7 plays, 75 yards. It reminded me a lot of the 6-play, 75-yard drive that they had last time that they were at home, last time they started the game with the ball, and that was against UAB. So I think that, that they've got some receivers here, and it's not necessarily guys that we thought would be the major contributors. We looked at Dominic Lovett early in the season and the way that he was playing. Lab McConkey, obviously, being the leading returning receiver. Brock Bowers is a huge part of this offense, and we'll get to that later. But Marcus Rosemy, Ra Thomas, those guys are coming along, and it's interesting that they're finding a way to keep both of them out there at the same time when they've got such similar body types and similar skill sets.
I see in the comments Matthew C. bringing it up about the kind of throw in the wind thing. Don't look now, guys, but Georgia leads the SEC in pass attempts per game. Georgia has thrown the ball more than they've run it 3 straight games. This is not some kind of they figured something out against Kentucky. Georgia's thrown the ball more than they've run it on first down this year. That didn't happen. I can't remember the last time that happened. I mean, I know that last couple of years it's been 60%, 55% or better run on first down. So, I mean, I thought the game plan was really, really strong. I thought, listen, when it comes to offensive coordinators, offensive, plan over play calling every single day of the week. Every single day of the week. I think fans put way too much, and this is with Todd Monken too. You put way too much emphasis on the play calling because so much of what happens on the field is about a decision. The quarterback's got 2 or 3, sometimes more than that, things that he can do when he steps behind that, behind that snapper. All right, and there's a lot of different things he can do. And I thought Georgia did a great job of coming into that game and understanding, all right, Kentucky is very, very aggressive. They're very aggressive. And as soon as Georgia got them in a 2nd and short, boom, they went for the shot play. And that was the exact shot play with the exact same reaction from the Kentucky defense that Florida missed early in that game. I think Florida was actually down 7-0 when it missed the deep over route like that. One that probably had a chance to score to that Pearsall kid that they've got that's their best receiver. And, kudos to Carson Beck on that throw, because that's one where you can kind of put it up high and let him go get it, and he has to leave his feet and come down with it on his backside, and he's just down, and it's just a chunk gain. But he laid it in there perfect. Rosemy Jack Saint caught it on the run, did the rest. You move to the second drive because we've seen Georgia score on the first drive this year. Well, you go to the second drive. I mean, they couldn't be stopped there either. And Ra Thomas makes a play. And
Russ, hell of a play.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Rusty, you and I talked about this today when we were on the phone. Ra Thomas and the emergence there, you were talking weeks ago, South Carolina game, about getting him more involved. We know Mike Bobo loves that back shoulder throw. And I'm telling you, that is a weapon. That is a third down. I mean, you saw Auburn go to it on third down. You saw South Carolina go to it on third down. When you've got a guy that's got ball skills that you can say, all right, run the 9 route, and if you've got a step, we'll fit it in. And if he's in your hip pocket,
that picture is unbelievable right there.
Yeah. And if he's in your hip pocket, we'll catch you. We'll catch you on the back shoulder, and it's almost unstoppable if you can execute it right. And I honestly believe that going forward, I don't think it has to be this good, but Aaron Murray had a connection with Tavares King and Malcolm Mitchell in 2012 on that almost made Georgia unstoppable on third down. And I think that's something that
who was that Jake Fromm do that with? Was it Javon?
Jeremiah Holloman?
No, Williams.
Yeah, him and Mims did too. And then in 2018, he had something with Holloman, and Holloman was so elite as an athlete. I remember he caught one against South Carolina where he reached back and got it and was able to stay in bounds, and the DB fell down, and he turned the back shoulder throw into like a 60-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
it was something crazy like that. So, Georgia's got something brewing there, man. I really do believe that kind of connection between Carson Beck and Ra Thomas, and then all of a sudden you look last year and they couldn't get an X receiver healthy. They couldn't get a split end healthy for nothing. Now they've got 2 really good ones.
And I found it interesting. I wrote about this in Rest and React today because it caught my attention. Was Kirby was asked about Ra and the game that he had, and he said, "This is the guy that has the biggest ability to change our offense," and that stood out to me. I mean, this is a guy that they brought in out of the transfer portal, prioritized, had high hopes for. Took a little bit longer than maybe a lot of people expected, and I think transitioning out of that air raid offense that he was in at Mississippi State into a more pro-style traditional offense at Georgia, he had a lot to learn there. But, to have a guy that has emerged like this and to have those kind of comments about him, that says a lot about what they really think about Ra Thomas.
Yeah, they didn't bring Ra Thomas in to sit on the bench. Let's be, and has it taken them a little while? Yes, it has. But, I think Georgia's hand got forced in that South Carolina game in the second half. They were down, and they couldn't play around. They were down 11, and it was time to go. And what he knows is what he knows. And you had to give him the game. And, I just think, Jake's right there. This is a guy that can continue to take this step forward because there's so much attention on Brock Bowers. So much attention on him every play. You have to identify him. Everybody has to know where he is. It leaves a lot of one-on-ones on the outside with this guy because safeties are usually bracketing this guy. And Ra Thomas, you see that ball placement there. Number one is great by Carson Beck. He only threw it one place that my guy can catch it. But you see the length there, and that DB is not in a bad spot. He's just not long enough. He just can't get his hand up, there. And rah, that is a picture perfect ball skills right there. Can you turn? Can you make a play on the ball running full speed and get your foot down? And he did it.
No doubt about it. And I think that's something for Georgia fans to be excited about, not just for him, because he's going to get more and more, knowledgeable, integrated, second nature in this offense. The more practice he gets, Georgia's got a bye week coming up after Vanderbilt. He's going to learn more. He's going to get better. Carson Beck's going to get better. Dominic Lovett's going to do more. Ladd McConkey's going to get in better shape and be a bigger part of the offense. The passing game is something that is really kind of it's clicking. It's great. Georgia's the second best passing offense in the SEC right now in terms of yards per game, and right there in the top 2 or 3 in yards per attempt. But there's still meat left on the bone because Georgia's still not firing on all cylinders when it comes to getting everybody up to date in the offense and everybody healthy.